Yep, I am back. I am back. It is your man T Can, and this is Royal Black. It's been a minute, going through a lot of stuff. Let me get these headphones off. I'm hearing a bunch of echoes going on. Trying to get it set up. My new little live area, but I guess we already know what by the title what this is gonna be about. And of course the title is what makes you different from a slave. Now, we all, we're not idiots. We all know what slavery is. And most of us, I can't say all of us, not with Mr. Officer Tater Tot, but most of us have an idea. We have a pretty good idea what slavery is, and we haven't personally lived it to our knowledge. And I think most of us would say that it pretty much goes against, our core values. Like we wouldn't choose to be enslaved, and we wouldn't want to enslave anybody. That's generally not what we do or what we desire to do. Uh, we don't get our rocks off from that. Uh, but like I said, I can't say everybody because Officer Tatum, boy, he been surprising me. I mean, he showed me a whole different level of raccoonness. I mean, he showed me a whole different breed of raccoon. I mean, good gracious. Uh, but anyway, we all have an idea what slavery is, and no, we wouldn't want to enslave nobody, and we wouldn't want to be enslaved. And the main reason why I'm starting off like this, asking, coming with that statement, is what is a slave? What is a slave, and what makes you different from a slave? If you're here, you can put it in the comments. You can put it in the chat. If you're tuning in later after this aired, you can put it in the comments. But I'm gonna let you sit with that for a minute. What actually makes you different than a slave? And to be honest, this is not a black American question. This is not a black diaspora question. This is really a question for any American. What makes you different than a slave? Okay, I wanted to give you a few minutes to see, to give whoever the opportunity to put it in the comments before I say what I got to say. Because I got some, uh, I got some viewpoints that a lot of us don't share. It seems like my vision is a little different than most people's vision. Now, of course, we would say slaves get beat. They get whipped. So I'm going to rephrase that question. Okay, well, what makes you different than a sharecropper? Or what makes you different than an indentured servant? I mean, some of them, they might have got beat, but it was a little less typical than a American enslaved person. And in fact, you know, indentured servitude wasn't just limited to the United States. In fact, it probably was more popular other places than it was here in America. But I think we all have an idea of what that is and what makes us different. What makes us different? What makes you different from an indentured servant or a sharecropper? Let me scoot up a little bit so I can lean back. Now, I'm sure some of the questions are going to be, some of the replies are going to be, well, we didn't get beat. That's number one. We ain't getting beat. We ain't been, we ain't been told where we can go, when to wake up, when to go to sleep, what we can eat, what we actually can do. We have full control over our lives. That's what most of us are going to say. And my rebuttal to that is, do we? Is that necessarily true? Because my job, my income predicts where I live. Like, I can't go live in a mansion. I don't got it like that. It kind of predicts not necessarily the exact area, but it predicts to a degree what area, what type of housing I can afford to live in. Also, what type of food I can put on my table, put in my refrigerator, what type of food I eat. Can I eat steaks every night? Can I eat anything that I want to eat? Can I go to the Cheesecake Factory 5 days a week and have $85 meals? Or is that like every blue moon type thing? Can I stay up all night? That answer is no. I can tell you already, because that's why I'm on so early, so to speak. I was trying to get on yesterday, but I've been having a lot of difficulties. With the microphone, and I believe I found one clue, because my camera kept freezing. Not necessarily with the microphone or with my video, but believe it or not, a few seconds ago, I actually found out that for some reason this audio jack is causing whenever I plug it in, it's causing my camera to freeze. I have no idea why, but I'll look into that later. But anyway, I'm up at it right now because I got to get ready to lay it down in a little bit. So even though there's not a person saying, hey, Tim, you got to go to sleep at this specific time, there is forces that's still predicting that I should go to sleep at a certain time if I want to be energized to sell my label. It's basically what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. I'm selling my label. And that's what most of us do. Most of us tend to sell our label. And we usually don't get a fair price for it neither. And I'm saying all of that because I'm not going to talk too much about Black Wall Street. I'm not going to talk too much about co-ops. But I do want it to be playing in the back of your head about the worker co-ops and the Black Wall Street. And maybe this conversation can tie it in why I have a desire to try to accomplish those things. There's a whole lot of things that life makes the decision for me. I mean, I ultimately make that final decision, but that decision is based on the life that I live in. Like some of us, I've done this on occasion. Sometimes I went to work sick because I was like, well, I need to look out for my health, but to be honest, I can't afford to look out for my health. If I take a day off of work, it's going to put me behind on bills. Or if I take 2 days off of work, put me behind on bills. There's one thing I was looking at the other day. A guy took off to go to his mother's funeral and they fired him. And I probably already told you guys, not one quite dramatic, but I don't know, that might have been the night I was talking for 1 hour and my mic wasn't on. So maybe you heard it, maybe you didn't. But I think that's when I was telling a story about when my mom passed and how I was treated by my employer at that time when my mom passed, and at that same time another co-worker that wasn't Black American had a daughter that had passed right around the same time, pretty much at the same time. We both were taken off at the exact same time, but one of us got a party and all type of condolences, and one of us got chewed out, and I'm pretty sure you can guess that it was me that got chewed out. A perfect way to deal with a person that just dealt with a passing. But anyway, we don't have too much control. We don't have as much control as we would like. But something is changing. Socialism is coming back. And I want you to pay attention to that word, because some of you might already be paying attention to the word. Because it's a word that our politicians, you hear our politicians talk about negatively. They make you sound like you unpatriotic if you are a socialist. But now we actually got some of them that's starting to get elected. Some people are wising up. And to give you, just to tie it in, the word socialism. Socialism and a worker co-op have a very, very strong relation. You are pretty much having socialist behavior if you are in a worker co-op. uh, that's definitely socialist. And like some, let me tell you what some countries do. And it's smart. What some countries do is, let's just say, for instance, like in America, we get laid off or whatever the case, we get laid off or whatever the case may be. Hold on a minute. We get laid off or whatever the case may be. We file for unemployment, and it's hard, even though it's your money, it's not their money, it's your money that you've been paid out of. Just in case you don't know, it's your money that you have been paying. A portion of that money they've been taking out of your check every pay period goes to, in case you are unemployed and you file unemployment, this is you getting some of that money back, and they don't like to give it to you. But that's what some of that money is for. I mean, that's what the money that they take out. That's what all of it's for. I mean, it's not like the government is trying to give you anything here in America. But what some countries do when people are unemployed, they will, instead of giving them, I'm not sure exactly how it is, but I'm imagining they give you a check every week. It's what I'm assuming it is. They give you a unemployment check every week. That's a fraction of what your paycheck was to help you get by while you're unemployed, while you're looking for more employment. Some other countries, what they do is they would give it all to you at once. They'd be like, okay, well, this guy is probably going to be unemployed for 1 year. We're going to give it all to him under one condition, that he starts a worker co-op, that he gets with other people. They come up with an idea and they start a worker co-op with that money, because it helps the country. We don't have to keep paying out money to you. Even though it's your money, we don't have to keep paying it out to you. We give it to you in one lump sum. And what you're going to do, you and 5 or 10 other people, y'all are going to that's unemployed. Y'all going to get together and y'all going to come up with an idea. Y'all going to come up with a business, and you're going to create this business. And y'all are going to create your own paycheck from your unemployment. And how that's going to help our government is, we don't have to see you go down this slippery slope. We don't have to see you lose your house or your car and become a negative contributor to our economy. You become a positive contributor to the economy because you created a job for yourself and some of these other people that were unemployed. Y'all became employed with your own resources. And because you did that, we get to go back to collecting taxes from you and all this, because you're no good when we can't collect no taxes. So now we put you back in the state to where you're back in the economy. You're back benefiting the economy. We're able to tax you. You're able to spend gas. You're able to buy food. You're able to do all those things that keeps the taxes rolling for the government, and it keeps you rolling as an individual. And just to reiterate, worker co-ops statistically are more successful than capitalist businesses. Now, this is where I'm going to pivot into capitalism, and I want to, let me see if I can find it, because I want to show you something that I found. This is actually something I asked Claude. So Let me see if I can find it here, which I already knew the answer to, but just to share with you guys. The question that I asked while I'm looking for it was, is the relationship between capitalism and slavery, is it a strong connection or a weak connection? Now let me try to find this. I'd like to read it verbatim. I'd like to read it, but I'm having trouble finding it. I don't know. I always have my notes mangled. Oh, I'm not finding it right off top, but I can tell you what it said. You can ask it the same question. Claude, Chat, GPT, whoever you choose to ask, and it's going to tell you no, it's not a weak connection at all. It's a very strong connection. In fact, it's more than a connection because you never could have had one without the other. If there was no capitalism, there would have never been any slavery. If there was no slavery, there never would have been capitalism. And that's what all our politicians keep us, that's the type of society they keep us in. They keep us in a capitalistic society. When we talk about socialism, a socialist society, they start talking to us like we're unpatriotic and that somehow we want to overthrow the government. When in fact, what it really is we want you to go out and create your own job. We want you to go out and get a paycheck just like us. We don't want to pay for you to live your lush job where you working 140 days a year. You taking mad vacation days, not even including the government shutdowns that's almost guaranteed. We want you to go get it out the mud just like we do. We don't want you to feed off of us. I'm still trying to find it. I don't think I'm going to find it. I really wanted it to break down the whole history. I'm not gonna lie, I don't got that in my head, the whole history of it, but there's a real strong correlation. Oh, here it is right here. The strong relationship, capitalism, slavery. Let me see. The relationship is strong, not weak historically. It's not even close. American slavery wasn't separate from capitalism. It was the foundation of it. Slavery was the engine of early American wealth. Cotton, sugar, tobacco, all built on unpaid labor. And those profits just didn't stay on the plantation. They funded banks, insurance companies, factories, even up north. The whole economy fed on it. Scholars have a name for this: racial capitalism. The idea that American capitalism grew up feeding on enslaved labor from the very start. Now, I'm going to stop right there because I think that said a lot. This is what your politicians, and regardless of, look, first of all, I know you're going to say, oh, here you go, ready to beat up on Obama. I like Obama. I think Obama was the best president we ever had. And I think, my opinion is, I think that, see, I seen them flip-flop. Not because he wanted to, but because he had to, first of all. So let me get that straight. And it's not because he black neither. That's not why I'm saying he the best president. But I've seen him flip-flop. Like I seen when he was running, he was wanting to do one thing. There was a whole lot of things that he was wanting to do. But I kept seeing where he was forced to change his view on it. And one of those was socialism and capitalism. Like he came in more like a socialist. But once he got elected and started trying to get things done, he quickly became a capitalist. Like universal health care, socialism. Is that bad? Is that something so bad that you're going to work somebody to death? Now listen how this sounds. You're already going to work somebody to death for less pay. Now a lot of you have trouble grasping when I say less pay, because a lot of you are going to say that I make more today than I made last year. I make more today than I made 10 years from now. Well, guess what? You're not the only one. But if you made $20 in 2025 and you an hour and you make $25, let me make sure I said it right. If you made $20 in 2005, that's what I'm trying to say. If you made $20 in 2005 and you make $25 in 2026, you make less money. You make less money. And that's where they'll get you all day long. That's how they get us all day long. And not only do you make less, you do more for less. That's the thing about it. Your duties has increased, probably to the tune of around 50 to 60% more productivity out of you for less money. Don't let the number fool you. Don't let those numbers fool you. Don't let inflation fool you. Don't let gas prices fool you. Don't let rent prices fool you. You got to remember all that. Remember how much you was paying for rent in 2005 or 2006. Remember how much you was paying for a Mac double in 2005, 2006, $1. I think that's a perfect example right there. Just look at the Mac double. It was $1. Now it's $3. So technically, if it tripled in price, like most of everything else did, why didn't your wage? Why is it that you was making $20 and now you're only making $25? According to the Mac double, you should be making $60. You should be making $60 to be able to buy the same amount of Mac doubles. Like back then, you could buy 20 Mac doubles with $20. Now you're making 25, but you can't buy 25 Mac doubles. You can't even buy 10. So don't think you're making more money because the number is bigger. And I'm pretty sure at the same time, gas and everything else, I ain't looking at all that, but I'm pretty sure we know gas was dirt cheap compared to now. Uh, so you're paying a lot more for gas, a lot more for electricity, a lot more for cable, a lot more for everything. But anyway, back to Obama. Yeah, I think he was trying to do the right thing, but they wasn't gonna let him. Uh, because they don't want to change the way things are. They want to keep you in a capitalist society. You see how they shot down Bernie Sanders? So I was for Bernie Sanders. And unfortunately, he's not running no more. But, you know, if you've been watching my videos, you know I really don't care about voting. Like I stopped, I didn't vote the last cycle. That's the only time I didn't vote. I didn't vote the very last time. All the other years I voted, but it just felt like it was becoming useless. It was like they're not even presenting me with a choice that I care for. They just keep presenting me with people that are set on keeping things exactly the same. And the only reason why they want to keep things exactly the same is because they benefit from it. Not everybody, like just say the church. The church don't want to take the collection plate out of the church because even if it could help the congregation, even if it could help the members of the church, if it could benefit the people of the church by getting rid of the collection plate, there ain't gonna be no more church. It's simple as that. The preacher ain't gonna show up because it benefits him, and I'm not trying to jump on no preachers because we got some that do the right thing, but we got plenty that are just capitalists. I'm a capitalist. A worker co-op is a capitalist. They capitalize. It's just a difference between who they capitalize off. A worker co-op, they capitalize. I don't want you to get it twisted. Don't think that a worker co-op don't capitalize. They absolutely do, but they capitalize off of their labor versus capitalizing off of another person's labor. Like slavery. Slavery capitalized off of the slave. They didn't capitalize off of what the slave master did or the plantation owner did. They didn't capitalize off of that. That wasn't the capital. That wasn't the capitalization. It was capitalizing off of someone else's labor, profiting from someone else's labor, benefiting from someone else's labor. And that's what is happening. I did this other thing here. Let me see if I can find it in here. I looked up Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, and Elon Musk. I don't know. I'm going to try to scroll and find it, but I wasn't going to talk much about it. But I just wanted to break this down. Do you know that if they were worker co-ops, guess what? I don't even remember which company it was. I think I'm going to say it was Mark Zuckerberg's company. He would still be a millionaire, living a comfortable life, but all his workers would be too. And then I think it was Elon's company, where Elon would be a millionaire and a multimillionaire, and his workers, I think the average was like 100 and let me see if I can find out, 100 and some odd $1,000. And I think that was actually Amazon, because Amazon the one with the large workforce. I think it was them that would be like $100 and something thousand for each employee per year. And that's only if things stayed exactly the same. But the truth is, things, all three of those companies would be better companies if they were worker co-ops. They would run more efficiently. You know, just say for instance, Amazon spends over $1 billion just on hiring people because they got such a terrible retention rate. People leave Amazon all the time. Co-ops, people barely ever leave. When a person is part of a worker co-op, they're normally part of it until it's over with, and until they gone or until the co-op gone. I mean, they normally 10 toes down with it, but they constantly improving all the time. Let's see what this says right here. Yeah, and that's all I love of what a co-op is. I'm not trying to talk too much about it, but a worker co-op is just workers owning their labor. That's all it is. It's we own our own labor. Don't nobody else own it. Nobody is making us do this, and then they're going to take the majority of what they make from it and give us the scraps. So that takes me back to that question again. What makes you different than a slave? Because what did a slave do? A slave produced the labor while someone else reaped the reward. How many of us don't do that? How many of us don't sell our labor for an unfair price? How many of us have gotten a paycheck on Friday and was broke on Friday? Worked hard all week, you got paid on Friday and was broke on Friday. How many of us, like, I don't know. Now, there's some people out there that's probably living comfortable now, but I ain't one of them. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm not one of them. Not from my job, and I'm tight anyway, but not from my job, not from my 9 to 5. My 9 to 5, I barely have anything left to save. That's why I had to find other ways to make extra income. But that's what we're doing. We're selling our labor for an unfair price. And the whole time, all the politicians, that's why I was talking about Obama. Obama was hitting that socialism was bad. All presidents, all politicians, except for the socialists, will tell you that socialism is bad. They'll try to take you back and they'll try to talk about the Soviet Union, you know, back when I can't remember that guy's name right now, but it's like 40, 50 years ago. They'll try to tell you about that, which is a difference when someone's trying to do socialism / communism. Because that's another word you hear too. I mean, I know you know that back from the civil rights days, how they was trying to call MLK a communist. They was trying to call anybody that was that had socialist beliefs a communist. So it's really all of them were labeled communists. You know, MLK, you just name them. It don't matter. Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey. It doesn't matter whoever you name. They were trying to label them as communist because they were socialist. And socialist just means, look, we want out of slavery, basically. Look, we want you to quit making more from our labor than we make. I mean, that's not a hard thing to ask for. I mean, at least you can split it 50-50. But that's not, and two business owners I do understand you do bear risk. A lot of times, it depends on what type of business you're talking about. A lot of these smaller businesses, there was a lot of sacrifice. Probably even when they were up and running, the employer may have actually been making less than the employee. And there may be some other businesses out there that still exist like that. I mean, it's not that uncommon for a employer to actually make less on occasion than his employee because it's this risk that he's taking. But then there are some of these businesses that's making billions of dollars in profits every single year. Now that's a whole nother story. That's capitalism at its maximum. That's the new age slavery. So back to the question, tell me how you're not a slave if you are underpaid for your labor. And because of your paycheck predicts what time you wake up, what time you go to sleep, what food you eat, what neighborhood you live in, what type of car you drive, when you go on vacation, if you can go to the hospital. When something has that much control over you, and then you have to pay, it got to come out of your pocket when you get sick. They can work you until you sick. They can work you until you sick. And they can work you while you sick. But you got to pay for yourself to get better. And however that may be, with your insurance and with the days that you have to take off to get better, you have to handle all of that. Tell me how you're not a slave. What makes you different than a slave? Okay, here we go. Jeff Bezos is worth $200 million. He has 1.5 million Amazon workers. You split it, that's $133,000 per worker. Now you tell me this, who thinks, and first of all, these numbers are done with Jeff Bezos still making millions. First of all, I had to do the numbers with Jeff Bezos still making millions, but we just gonna say, who couldn't handle Jeff Bezos' workload for $133,000? Because that's one thing he'd do. Just say if he was only getting $133,000, let's just say hypothetically, if that was it. He's choosing where he live. He's choosing what type of food he eat, what type of car he drive, when he go on vacation. So you notice they don't even have to worry about universal health care. That's something that they don't need. And because they don't need it, it don't happen. It's just simple as that. Okay, Elon Musk. worth 240 million. I don't know where they got that. Oh, I'm sorry. 240 billion. I was about to say, I don't know where they got that number from. Yeah, he's worth 240 billion, which I believe it changed, but we'll go with it. 240 billion, 140,000 workers, split it, 1.7 million. 1.7 million between each worker. Who couldn't do Elon Musk's job for $1.7 million a year? Who couldn't? Tell me, who couldn't do his job for 1.7 million? I'm pretty sure you can do better than what he does for 1.7 million. Mark Zuckerberg, 185 billion, I'm sorry. Mark Zuckerberg, 180 billion, 75,000 metal workers, split it. $2.4 million per worker. Who couldn't do Zuckerberg's job for $2.4 million and be happy about it? Who couldn't do it and be happy about it? The extreme capitalism is more than evident. That's what, and this is what I want you to understand about those three people that I named. Or about the workers, what I said the workers was getting. That's under the amount that they would actually get. That's not the amount that they would get. That's less than the amount that they would actually get. Because worker co-ops are better than capitalist businesses. You see what I'm saying? Because the worker understands when he don't show up to work because he got drunk on Sunday, he understands that that affects his paycheck. I mean, of course, we understand it as working for capitalists. We understand that too. It affect our paycheck. But it's a different concept. Because you own the business as a worker co-op. This is part of yours. And it's important that the business runs well to you. It's actually important. It's actually important that anywhere in your realm that you can improve the business, is very important that you do it, because when you improve the business, it improves your paycheck. When you make the business worse, it makes your paycheck worse. So that's why these co-ops, these worker co-ops, are much better businesses. I mean, we can take it down to a small scale. We can take it down to just like a pizzeria. Let's not think about these huge businesses. A pizzeria that's owned by worker co-ops have better customer service. That's one thing. Co-ops always have better customer service. How many times have you ever went to a restaurant and got shitty customer service? And the main reason is because that person didn't give a damn. Whoever you were talking to, they didn't give a damn. That's what they thinking. I don't give a damn. This ain't my business. I don't give a damn if you don't come back. I hope you don't. We got a Wingstop. Actually, we got several. They're notorious for doing this. It's like, I'm not sure what time they close. I don't know if it's midnight or, I have no idea when they close. But I know what I got to do if I want some Wingstop wings within an hour and a half before they close. I better order it through the app. Because if I go there, they're going to make all type of excuses of why they can't produce the wings. Because they don't care. The less work they got to do, the better. because their paycheck is going to be exactly the same. Whether they do more or do less, their paycheck is exactly the same. They have no desire to do anything. They don't have no desire to do what they're supposed to do, let alone what they're required to do. They have no desire. They have no desire. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I think it's unprofessional. I mean, my opinion is, if you can't work well for, this is my motto, basically. If you can't work well for others, you can't work well for yourself. That's the way that I look at it. But trust me, I do some things. I've done something Friday, to be honest, at work. We didn't have a lot of work, but I was noting that if this was my business, I'd be at these other businesses soliciting, telling them, hey, look, I have a service that can improve your business. But then I was like, but I'm going to sit here because I don't get paid for that. I don't get paid to go solicit these other businesses. I don't get paid for trying to increase my company's revenue. So I'm going to sit back. We ain't got nothing to do. Perfect. I'm going to do nothing. Going to do nothing. And that's what I did. I done nothing. And it was hard doing nothing, to be honest. It was hard doing nothing. It was hard that day. Friday, man, that was the longest day ever. It was hard for me not to do nothing. But I was just like, I can't do it. There's a lot of other reasons involved too, but I just refused. I was like, even if I do want to do it, I'm not going to do it because I don't get paid to do it. But I never would have done it if that could somehow affect my paycheck. But the way I was looking at it, whether I sit here or not, I can go do that, but I'm not going to get no extra money. Or I can sit here and do nothing and get the exact same paycheck. This is making up for the time they worked the shit out of me. That's the way I was looking at the time they worked the shit out of me. When I know I made them way too much money and I didn't get nothing. I can tell you horror stories, but I'm not even going to go into it. Because I didn't come on here to be on here long. To be honest, I just wanted to come and put some thoughts into your head to talk about socialism. I want you to think about socialism. I don't want you to think about it as a bad word because Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, under socialism, these men are still rich. They still eat. They build something real. They're just millionaires instead of billionaires because the rest finally comes to the people who made it. Instead of you getting rich off of someone else's sweat, you're getting rich off of yours. And you still make millions. But that's the American way. That's really the whole message of this. American has a certain way. And they never got unaddicted to slavery. They're still addicted to slavery. And that's why you can look at all these other first world countries and they got free health care. Less money than the United States, but free health care. A whole lot of things they have less, but yet they do more for their citizens. And America does completely the opposite. They give their citizens the bare minimum and over police them, over ticket them. I mean, it's all type of money that you probably don't even include, but you add up the speeding tickets and all the other stuff you had to deal with in the legal system just to maintain. You done gave a lot of money to your government and you're not getting a lot back. They don't even want to give you your own money. You doing bad, you become unemployed, and they want to try to do whatever they can. See, because I got employment. It was a long time ago, and it was for a short period of time. So I don't remember the details, but I know I was mad as hell the first time that I did the paperwork because they turned me down. And I'm like, how the hell can they turn me down for my own fucking money? That's the way that I was looking at it. How can they turn me down for my own money? I mean, what? I'm unemployed, and I need money. How can they turn me down? And to be honest, months had went by. And I was talking to somebody else. I was talking to somebody that was more experienced in it. And they was like, oh man, you should, no, go do it again. You know, I had told them, you know, because I was upset, and I told them about like what the government had done to me. And they was, oh man, that was your first time filling out? They were like, no, go do it again. They give it to you the second time. You like, they won't give it to you the first time. I was like, what kind of shit is that? He was like, no, they do everybody that way. They will not give it to you. It don't matter what the situation is. They will not give it to you the first time. They want you to think that you can't get it. He was like, they want you to think that you can't get it. He was like, they want you to go out and try to find a different solution. They don't want to give it to you. I was like, but I don't understand. That's my money. And I thought they was lying. But I went and I done it again. And to be honest, I didn't have a lot of faith in it. And I just kept on doing what I was doing because I had to survive. I kept on doing what I was doing. I filled it out again. But then it was like 3 or 4 months that it went by. But I was still doing what was necessary. You know, I don't know. I think you had to like look for a certain amount of jobs or something. I was still doing that part of it. But I wasn't looking at the account. I wasn't looking at that. To be honest, life was just lifing. So I was kind of like living life and doing what I had to do to survive. And then I went and checked one day, and I don't know, man, I had like 6, 7 checks up in there. I was like, dang, I didn't hit the lotto. I was like, I didn't hit the lotto. To go from struggling to actually getting 6 or 7 of my own paychecks back. But other countries, they do that for you. You got other countries that they do that from you off top. And first of all, they ain't gonna try to get you not to get your own money, but they're gonna try to get you a lump sum so you will actually go out and create a business. Because that's exactly what I did. Because of that lumped up that way, it wasn't a great business, but I went out and started a business with those checks. I didn't go out and blow it. I went out and I started a business with those checks, and I was able to generate a better income than a weekly unemployment check. And that's a good strategy when you actually trying to do something other than enslave your citizens. So I'm gonna come back to the question: what makes us different from a slave besides us not getting whipped? What makes us different from a sharecropper? What makes us different from an indentured servant? Because it seems like we're pretty much do the same thing, just in a different way. We're not getting whipped. We're not getting told to stay in a shed. We're not getting told that we can't eat steak, that we got to eat scraps, but in a different way we are. In a different way we are. Because we're having to sell our labor for an unfair price. And with that unfair price, predicts a lot, especially for lower income people. And just to touch on this for a minute, I'm not going to get into it. They're getting rid of the middle class, just in case you don't know. Do your own research. But they're getting rid of the middle class. Because I was about to speak about the lower income. But that's what they're doing. They're getting rid of the middle class. So it's only going to be low income and high income. 99%, 99 point whatever percent, plus less than 1%. So they're getting rid of them. And they've already been doing it, as you can see. I mean, I already gave you the perfect example that you're actually making less. I guarantee you, when you were paying $1 for the Mac Double, your wage has not increased 3 times. In fact, I don't even know what a McDouble is. It might be more than $3. It's probably more than $3. I don't know. It's probably more than that. I have no idea, even though I eat them all the time. But, and I've been eating them since there was $1. So I've noticed a change. And it's not like, oh no, it was because it was a promotional price and the promotion actually went away and now you're paying true value. No, you was paying true value when it was $1. You was paying true value when it was $2. You was paying true value when it was $3. It's priced comparatively with everything else. I mean, go try to make you a good burger yourself for $3. That's the magic trick right there. You go try to make a burger for $3. Go, you go try to do that. Let me see you pull that off. I want to see somebody make a burger for $3. That's what I want to see. It's hard to do. I mean, you can go ahead and say, yeah, if I buy in bulk, go ahead and buy in bulk. That's what I'm telling you. Go ahead and buy in bulk. Let's say you make 10 burgers for $30. But you damn sure ain't gonna make 10 burgers for $10. But let's say you try to make 10 burgers for $30. And I know they may not be 30. I mean, I understand that you try to make 30, that you're going to actually be using 100% ground beef. You're actually going to be using the right type of food, and maybe, possibly, there's something else in those burgers. But I don't know. I've noticed that too. You're like, really, like, is it worth cooking anymore? Because it seems like buying groceries and then coming home and actually cooking. Like, I just made some lasagna the other day. I made some lasagna yesterday. I spent over $60. $60 to make approximately 4 servings of lasagna. I was like, I just could have went, not imagining the dishwasher I had to run and the oven and the stovetop, the utilities that I had to use, the energy that I had to use. Man, I could have went and spent $15 on the next 4 meals. So yeah, it's getting very competitive, man. It's getting very competitive, man, and they really It's not getting any better. The only good thing that I see is happening right up under your eyes. And some of you may not realize it. But listen to the Democrats. Listen to how some of these Democrats are mad at some of the recently elected Democrats. And you be like, now what difference does it make? I mean, that's what you might think. What difference does it make? Why are the old school incumbent Democrats mad at these new Democrats? It seemed like you should be glad that a Republican didn't win. Why are you so mad? I mean, you are more mad at them than if a Republican could have won. Why are they so mad? Because they were socialists. The people that took them down, the Democrats that took them down were socialists. Were people that are for worker co-ops. Because that's the thing about it, is inevitable. Whether you want to create one with me or with whoever or not, it's coming. It's unsustainable. Do you know that we have an economic downfall every 4 to 7 years? That's what capitalism does. Capitalism causes economic downfalls every 4 to 7 years. You can't even plan for 10 years. Because within 10 years, it's possibly that it's going to be 2 economic downfalls. I mean, really, like if you really wanted to say, okay, well, I'm going to budget this amount of money for the next 10 years, or 20 years, 30 years, your retirement, how many economic downfalls are you going to have when it's going on every 4 to 7 years? You can't even predict. You can't even predict for 10 years. So, basically, I was just making this video to kind of clarify why I wanted a worker co-op, why I wanted a Black Wall Street. Because these are socialist moves. These are ways for us not have to question ourselves what makes us different. Because it's not much that makes us different. You can find some things that make us different, but you can find more things that make us similar. To an enslaved American, you can find more things. Because again, I didn't went away from it, but like it was saying, capitalism and slavery, they couldn't even exist without each other. Slavery never would have existed without capitalism. Capitalism never would have existed without slavery. And yet, all the politicians that you have been voting for through your whole life, even if you are old as me, are capitalists. The ones that they've been hating on, Bernie Sanders, you see why. You see why they've been making him seem like a demon. Because he's a socialist. What this means is that they may not get that same salary for working 140 days. What? Don't you wish you had a job you could work 140 days and then your job actually closed down and you still get paid? Like you have these government shutdowns. I mean, you can't tell me these guys ain't praying. I mean, if I had that job, I'd be like, man, please let it be a government shutdown. I need a break. It's not even a punishment. It's a vacation. That's why they do it. They go on a government shutdown and they act like ain't nothing wrong. They just, they looking, they picking up their folders and briefcases and storming up out of there. But I don't know. I want you guys to be aware. I want you to understand some of my angles, some of my motivations. I don't want you to think that I'm trying to grift, like I hear some people say, because that sounds like a capitalist. That sounds like what a capitalist would say. because I'm trying to create a democratic working environment and land that people actually own instead of capitalists owning it, I'm a grifter. Well, I tell you what, I think I'm going to wrap it up right now, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. I am your man, T. Can, and this is Royal Black.